It's Ag Week at USU, coming up on ATV News.
One of my family members almost died from COVID, so it's definitely changed my opinion.
We'll show you how a near-death experience with COVID caused a change of mind.
Okay, it's time to upgrade the portal.
USU says its new website is easier to use. We'll tell you if students agree.
It's really, really fun.
We'll show you some crazy masked-up costumes from FanX. The calendar says it's the first week of fall. I'll tell you if the thermometer agrees in weather.
Pigskins are the hot topic on campus this week. In sports, I'll show you how USU football is making history.
All that and more, this is ATV News.
Gabby Petito never goes outside.
This footage from Gabby Petito and her boyfriend Brian Laundrie's YouTube channel shows the couple on their cross-country road trip. The FBI announced yesterday that the human remains discovered in Teton County, Wyoming are Petitos. Welcome to this edition of ATV News. I'm William Boltez.
And I'm Annika Johns.
This body cam footage shows the couple fighting 3 weeks before she went missing. The coroner ruled the death a homicide. Laundrie has been missing for nearly a week, and the FBI says he is a person of interest.
Police tweeted last night that they are trying to identify this man and this vehicle regarding a property crime on campus. Contact USU Police if you have seen either or have any other information.
USU researchers are finding a connection between political views and positive COVID cases. Sarah Murphy joins us live from the newsroom to show us how the increases of COVID cases has led to new research here at USU.
Thanks, William. We're here taking a look at the timeline of the COVID-19 pandemic here in America. Now, the U.S. had their first positive COVID-19 case back in January of 2020. And just a few months later, in March of the same year, this case number increased across the country. Fast forward a year later to March of 2021. Over 28 million Americans had COVID-19 and over 500,000 died as a result. Now, in studying more about the pandemic, USU researchers found a connection between Americans' political views and their opinions on COVID-19. After taking a deeper look at this, they noticed how the pandemic has even caused some to change their opinion along the way.
My grandma said that the paramedics came out to the house because my mom was having trouble breathing.
A text message with the potential to change everything.
My heart just sunk.
And for Utah State University grad student Annie Romano, it did.
It was about 2 weeks ago, I got a text from my grandma that said that my mom had tested positive for COVID, and she told me on the phone that she was pretty close to not making it just because she wasn't able to breathe at all.
For Romano, this near-death experience of a loved one changed her opinion on the pandemic.
In March 2020, I was just uninformed, so I thought it was a potential hoax. Now, September 2021, having my own mom nearly pass away from the effects of being sick with COVID, I'm now informed, I'm now more educated, and I now have the opinion that this is like a real pandemic. And they told her that they think it's the Delta variant, and that's why it was so much worse than when she had COVID last year.
Romano says hers and her mom's original view of the pandemic stemmed from their political beliefs. And they're not alone. A new study from the Western Rural Development Center shows a connection between political views and COVID-19 per capita cases and death rates.
Counties where Trump received a higher proportion of the vote tended to have worse per capita COVID cases and deaths.
In other words, researchers took a look at counties' political views and their total number of positive COVID-19 cases from March 2020 to March 2021. Now, what they found is that in states like North Dakota and South Dakota that vote predominantly Republican, they tested positive for more COVID-19 cases, as represented by this dark red color. Researchers say that they hope this information will help start a conversation.
You participate in certain kinds of activities and you do certain kinds of behaviors. If you don't get vaccinated, if you don't, back before vaccines, if you don't wear a mask, if you don't socially distance, it has consequences. And the consequence is people get sick and die.
I got vaccinated 7 months ago.
But Romano says that it is possible to separate your beliefs or to have your opinions change.
While my political views haven't changed, my opinions definitely have. I just think that's really important that we don't stop ourselves from learning from other people simply because they think one way and we think the other way.
Researchers say they hope that this study will be the first step in beginning to bridge the differences between people's opinions. They also say that their next step is to begin looking specifically at COVID-19 vaccines, and that's what they hope to do in the future. Reporting live from the newsroom, Sarah Murphy, ATV News. Back to you, Will.
Thanks, Sarah.
This year, Aggies are using a new MyUSU student portal. Emma Fate shows us how students are adjusting to the change.
Skating, rolling, and walking around campus is back to normal this year. But returning to campus doesn't mean Aggies are ditching online resources.
A separate item to have.
Busy students have access to almost everything they need for school through the MyUSU portal. But the site needed an update.
Frankly, between now and 2012, things have changed. The way students live as students, the way they carry out their not only business but their social life, and that has changed dramatically.
The new portal, Morales says, is modern and easy to use on your phone, computer, or if you're really crammed, both.
It's easy to see all of these changes when we compare the old and the new website side by side. The old MyUSU lists most of its links over here on the left-hand side. It saves this middle area for announcements or other social media posts. The new MyUSU looks quite a bit different. We still have most of the tools over here listed, but there's also a lot more drop-down menus and categories. And then you have a larger section over here for Canvas announcements. Morales says this site is better for students, but what do Aggies really think?
The updated look, it looks really fresh, it's new. It shows you the things you might need for first as a student.
The new website's nice. I'm of the opinion if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
It looks nicer for sure, and I think once I know where everything is, I'll like it better.
While students are still getting used to the site, Morales says he's hoping they take advantage of the new site's opportunities.
I'm just excited. I really am that MyUSU is really the next evolutionary step.
Emma Fates, ATV News.
The website team says they will be looking for student feedback about important functions like registration.
Logan City says you'll have an easier time crossing Main Street with their new underpass. Ting Yu Ting shows us where they plan to build it.
Traffic problem can be a problem through town sometimes, and aisles, creating a gap for hiking lovers.
Might be a little bit dangerous to walk or to bike, but this sidewalk is going to have a very different look by next year.
The city of Logan says it will start building an underpass here next year. The Logan mayor says the underpass will greatly improve safety for pedestrians.
And pedestrians that use it, so we have again, many people that use, some of the adjacent trail sections. We have some great trail sections through the golf course and along the river, but the trail is just kind of always stopped at Main Street because you can't get across. Just the trail to be used much more safely. And the nice thing about the project is we won't have to impact traffic for very long. There will be very minimal closures because this underpass, it's done in a couple of, they're kind of concrete boxes that they place underneath. So the road closure portion should not take too long. The pass will be at 600 South on South Main in Logan. That will connect two new developments in South Logan. The River Walk development, which is just across the river from the Riverwoods Conference area, and the new Gateway office building, which is on the west side of US 8991 Main Street.
T.U. Chen, ATV News.
You can find a link for the project on our Facebook page.
Staff at the Merrill Kazir Library can't find the key to a 17th century door in special collections. On Friday morning, a local locksmith volunteered to try to open it with some old skeleton keys.
There was some confusion on, well, let us double check, make sure we can get financing. I said, no, we'll take care of this for free. This is fun.
Beezer says they are working on making a key that fits the lock and should be able to open the door on their next trip back.
You can be proud anywhere you live.
And coming up, rainbows were bright for Logan Pride Festival over the weekend. We'll show you why this year, though, it almost didn't happen.
People are so creative. We'll show you why thousands of people gathered in Salt Lake this weekend.
Coming up in weather, Emma Fates will have the 7-day forecast. The current temperature is 77 degrees.
Welcome back. Logan Pride just celebrated their 6th festival, but it almost didn't happen. Sarah Murphy shows you the challenge that almost shut the whole thing down.
Love each other.
Yes. Drag queens showed their stuff, as did singers.
Thank you so much.
And dancers
Down you do.
at this year's Logan Pride Festival.
Living in Logan and in the Cache Valley area, like, you don't see that a lot. You're around a lot of people who are like very much religious and straight, and there's a lot of like homophobia.
Logan Pride Festival is busy with people painting their hands, visiting the 44 different booths, and new people showing up each hour. But Logan Pride members say that this entire festival this year almost didn't happen.
Logan Pride took a really big hit. They lost their director of previous years, so that was really hard. And then they also, with COVID, no funds were coming in.
We lost a lot of, people, which meant a lot less impact to be able to put through social media.
But despite the setbacks they faced,
Can't get it out.
Do you want another white?
Logan Pride was able to stay open.
Hi, how are you?
And board members say stay positive.
It would have been a lot more difficult for me to close our doors than to keep it running. This is something this valley desperately needs. I made it an effort to rebuild it.
And people here are glad he did.
It's important to me that like a lot of other people that don't usually have that safe space like can kind of have that space today.
You can be proud anywhere you live. It doesn't have to be a big city, and to be at home wherever you are.
Sarah Murphy, ATV News.
Logan Pride members say you don't need to go to the Pride Festival to show your support. You can find more ways to help on our Facebook page.
We have this beautiful shot of Cache Valley over here. We've got crystal clear blue skies. It looks absolutely beautiful here in Cache Valley. As you can see, we don't have a lot of smoke, which is really great. We get to enjoy those clear skies. And coming into fall, those trees are still pretty green, but hopefully we'll get more of those Logan colors that we love to see so much. Taking a look over here at our state radar, you can see that it's pretty much just like we saw in that picture, just clear weather, and that's all it is. And go out there and enjoy it, because if we take a look at our national radar, it's quite a different story over here on the East Coast. We can see these storms coming up the East Coast. That's just from a low pressure system making its way along that East Coast. We have thunderstorms just going along there. We also have this large storm area happening over the Detroit and Great Lakes area. We have lots of excessive rain and possible flooding in that area. But over here in Utah, let's take a look at our 7-day forecast. As you can see, we've got a high of 77 today, and that's kind of coming throughout the rest of the week. It's partly cloudy today and Friday, with lows in the high 30s and mid 40s, which is a little colder than we have been used to. And then taking a look just at the rest of the week, Saturday through Monday, we are at high 80s, again mid 40s for the lows, a little bit warmer than last week, but not too warm. And then Tuesday, we have about a 20% chance of rain in the evening. But as you know, with Utah, that can always change. You're all caught up on weather. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Emma. FanX came back to Salt Lake after COVID shut it down last year. I went down there to see how fans and vendors like being assembled again. Whether it's monsters, sword fights, pro wrestling, getting autographs from your favorite celebrities, or cosplaying as your favorite character, there was something for every nerd at FanX, no matter how long it took to make.
This one is probably somewhere in the realm of 115 to 150 hours.
Vendors come to FanX to sell merchandise and get exposure.
FanX is a very good one for me, yeah. It always has been. I think this is my 4th time here. It's always been a really good show.
It honestly just makes my heart so happy to see so many people doing what they love and not getting it canceled because of COVID.
FanX didn't happen last year due to COVID restrictions, but this year everyone's back to get their hands on their favorite merchandise and see their favorite characters.
It's actually been a lot busier this year than it has been before. I think everyone's really excited to come back.
I couldn't rely on shows, and I knew that these small originals would sell. And I have 3 kids, I have a wife, I have a mortgage.
Thousands of fans browsed through the vendor's floor.
It's cool to be able to meet with groups of people again.
Since fans couldn't socially distance, masks or helmets were required to get in.
I see a lot of people wearing masks, and they checked everyone's temperatures coming in, which I think was way cool. I wasn't expecting that, but it's nice because I feel a little bit safer being here.
Fans said they missed hanging out with people who dress like they do somewhere.
By fans, for fans.
So I actually ran into Annika while I was there.
Yeah, so a couple of friends and I went down for the weekend and we're cosplaying at the event.
Yeah, tell them what you were cosplaying as.
I was Annabeth Chase.
From Percy Jackson, right?
Yes, exactly.
It's awesome. And coming up,
we wanted to be a team that's on the front foot, a team that's resilient, a team that's fit, that plays fast, and that
the longest
always
win
has
streak
belief.
in USU soccer history is a good way to start the season. We'll show you how they did this week.
Oh my gosh, you have to come try this. It's like the perfect sport for you.
we'll tell you how this sport took these Utah athletes to Hungary.
A touchdown and a salute from the Aggies will show you the big plays that are making history in sports.
Imagine what you'd see if every child had a book to read. 'Cause every kid across the nation deserves a book to read, and we can make it happen right now. No, I don't know what you've been told, but kids with books learn so much more. So the mission is for us to get a book to each and every child. So let's join hands, book people unite, unearth hidden passion. Come on, have a good time. Planting seeds of inspiration to motivate some magic. To change the writing on the wall. Writing on the wall. One book can make a difference. One book can inspire a child. One book can be the first element that helps to change a life. People unite.
Read to a child today and spark a lifetime of ambition.
Body language. Without saying a word, it can tell you so much. Like someone is having a stroke. Know the sudden signs. Learn fast. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time. Time to call 911 immediately. The sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in their recovery. Learn the body language, the sudden signs, and spot a stroke fast.
The Aggies battled it out on Saturday against Air Force, trailing the entire game until junior running back Calvin Tyler Jr.
scored what ended up being a 61-yard game-winning touchdown in the last 4 minutes, bringing the Aggies' record to 3-0. This is the first time in Aggie football history that we've started out the season 3-0, and oh, do we love to see it. They ended the game 49-45. Welcome to ATV Sports. I'm Fa'aititi Tuileta. Huge team wins for Aggie football, and we've got some personal victories as well. Shout out to senior wide receiver Devin Tompkins for being ranked #1 in the NCAA for the most receiving yardage with a whopping 454. Soccer had a bit of a rough start to the week with a loss on Thursday against the University of Utah, but came out kicking against BYU with a beautiful left foot goal in overtime from Mountain West Freshman of the Year, Tenzie Knowles. The Aggies beat the Cougars down south on their own home field 2-1. And to give you a sideline pass, Dalton Renshaw gets you a closer look at the drive and motivation behind this team.
The USU women's soccer team has had plenty to celebrate this season. Before its loss to Utah over the weekend, the Aggies were riding a school record 12-match win streak, which dated back to the end of last season. The players feel one blemish on the record won't take away from the confidence they've gained so far.
I think that, we are confident because of the coaching staff. And we always try to think in the future, not the past. Obviously, Utah game was a tough game and could have gone, any way, but there's nothing to be upset about or bitter about.
USU bounced back from the defeat to pull off its first win at BYU in program history 2 days later. This was just another game for the players, though, according to their head coach.
So I typically keep an eye on, try to keep an eye on the pulse of the team in terms of, are the players letting it be too big of a game, or is there stress, anxiety? And I didn't see any of it. We drove down to Provo, confident, it was normal, not overconfident, we respect every opponent, but he couldn't tell a difference from any other game we've played.
Goals are hard to come by in this sport, which can make for a dramatic ending. In the past, closing out games has been a weakness for the Aggies, but with 3 overtime wins already this season, this may now be a strength, Coach Martin says.
Right, that's the first thing that we wanted to implement as a staff, is a very clear idea of what we want our identity to be. We want it to be a team that's on the front foot, a team that's resilient, a team that's fit, that plays fast, and that always has belief.
The Aggies still have 11 games left to play before the hope of playing in the postseason. So how do the players try to stay focused and not get carried away with a good start?
Basically everything we've done is nothing. It doesn't count towards anything, and they remind us of that we haven't done anything yet. And that's constantly in our heads, is we haven't done anything yet. And it's exciting because we get to do something still. And every day they remind us it's about what's coming, it's not about what happened. And with that mindset, it just, like I said, it makes us very hungry for more.
Dalton Renshaw, ATV News.
The Aggies kick off non-conference play at home this Friday by taking on Nevada at Bell Field. And to keep the girl power going, volleyball had a clean sweep on Saturday against Idaho State, dominating the first 3 sets. The Aggie defense was strong, keeping the Bengals below 20 for all 3 sets. Men and women's cross country ran circles around the competition at the Montana State Cross Country Classic, with both teams taking first place. This is the 2nd year in a row that our women's team has taken first in this classic, and this win has bumped our men's team to rank 17th in the nation. Men's tennis ended their weekend in Colorado Springs with 3 singles victories, and yesterday, closing up the first round at the ITA Regional, 6 of our single players and 2 of our doubles teams are playing in the second round today. We wish them the best of luck. And for high school football, Mountain Crest lost at home against Green Canyon 21-14, but the Logan High Grizzlies were able to beat Bear River with a narrow victory 46-42. And the Ridgeline Riverhawks faced off against their crosstown rivals, the Skyview Bobcats. It was a rainy game, but that didn't stop Riverhawks senior quarterback Caden Cox from throwing 3 touchdowns and rushing in 2 to seal their 35-10 victory. This bumps the Riverhawk record to 6-0 for the season. Now you're all caught up on ATV Sports. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Kiki. The College of Agriculture and Applied Sciences is bringing back an old USU tradition. Over 100 students came to compete in a cow milking contest for the first time in years. The students had 1 minute to milk the cows and get as much milk as they could. The college said they hope to have the contest every year.
Utah locals went to Hungary for this extreme equestrian sport. Yvonne Bass shows us how they trained to get there.
This sport is called equestrian vaulting. These two are practicing on a barrel in prep to do these moves on a horse.
Vaulting is a teamwork sport between you and your horse and what you can do together in a really cool and beautiful, harmonious equestrian way.
I always tell people it's gymnastics on horseback. It's kind of a team sport with your horse and your lunger.
Right now I'm grooming Valor, a vaulting horse in training. Vaulters are known to take really good care of their horses as they are not just animals to them, but team members.
The vaulting horses get way more attention to their whole body health and whole body fitness, and we're really attuned to making sure that they are a complete athlete.
As well as training their horses, they say that they train themselves for years with hours on end to reach the higher competing levels.
2 weeks ago, I was in Budapest, Hungary for the World Championships.
As a pair, Callie and Todd Griffiths took 7th place at Worlds while representing the United States. They say that the competition is very supportive of each other.
You go into the arena and even your competitors are cheering for you.
The energy is electric in that arena.
Yvonne Bass, ATV News.
Kaylee and Todd are going to Denver to compete in 2 weeks in hopes to qualify for Worlds 2022 in Denmark.
Thank you for joining us on this edition of ATV News.
You can find the previous editions on our Facebook page.
We'll leave you with some more shots from women's soccer, and we hope to see you next week, Cache Valley.
Today, 1 out of every 4 American kids is Hispanic. That means many of the future doctors who will care for us, the engineers who will build our cities, the scientists and entrepreneurs of our country can be your kids. We all know how hard it is for you to send them to college. This is why we want you to know you are not alone. And every day more people support you to make it happen. Many support you. And the Hispanic Scholarship Fund helps you prepare, plan, and pay for your kids' college education. HSF.net.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Aww. You should pick that up.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how. Teach your kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.